What did a crush do that made you instantly lose interest in him/her? She asked me if I wanted to go to a concert with her. Then she wanted me to pay for both tickets that I knew she got for free. Promptly laughed at her and told her she can duck off with some other idiot. It's funny how fast the ugliness on the inside can overcome anything good on the outside. She did me a favor that day. My friend used to have a crush on this guy, but one day when he was out with her along with a couple of friends, he stole tips off the bar counter and offered her food with it. She refused. We were out drinking. He got drunk and started fighting a guy that he thought had been harassing me. The guy said he didn't harass me. I said he didn't harass me. My crush still tried to defend me. Never lost interest faster. Oof. He looks like he was looking for a fight to impress you. I worked up the courage to ask this girl to go on a date. She said yes. On the date, she proceeded to spend the whole time gossiping about anyone and everyone she could talk bad about. I still remember the moment it clicked that she was just super shallow and mean. It's a bit different. But I had a moment when I was younger, maybe 15 or so, when I realized that my mum was like this. Anytime she could talk shit about someone, she would. And no one would be safe. It would be especially bad at family dinners. Almost like her only topic of conversation was talking bad about someone. This was when I realized that I'd probably be reducing contact with her. Once I'd moved out, was crushing on this girl for ducking months. And it turns out at her last apartment she stole $1,500 for coke and abruptly ended the lease, giving her 2 roommates barely any time at all to find new housing. One of which had to move back in with their abusive mother. He tossed an empty drink bottle onto a random lawn as we walked down the street. Here's a light-hearted one. I developed my first crush when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. This was right around the time when Pokemon were first becoming really popular. So naturally I was obsessed with them. I had the cards, the Game Boy games, etc. One day I overheard the girl I had a crush on talking to her friends at recess about how weird Pokemon were. And thus in a flash a young love was extinguished. Fast forward about 22 years and my wife also doesn't like Pokemon. Because life is strange. Life is Strange is a good game too. Acting like a complete dickhead. And when I addressed it he said, I know I'm an asshole, but I'm really sexy like. Okay. Suddenly. You're really not sexy at all. Lol sounds like something I'd say to my GF ironically for a cheap laugh. She was going to a party and I said you seem pretty and enthusiastic about going. She replied with don't use big words. Comma okay. You seem big sad. No won't go? Which one of you wants to be next to make a reference to The Office? Threw rocks at a cat because she thought it was funny. That's no way to show appreciation to a funny cat. This guy that I'd been talking to for a while on Tinder who I thought was cool cute but he never seemed down to meet up. One time he randomly messaged me to say he'd gone over to someone's place and they'd had sex 3 times. I think he was trying to make me jealous but it just made me feel a bit gross. I had similar. I had known this guy for a few weeks and finally had a date at his to cook me dinner. Texted him a couple days before to say hi. And asked him how his day was. He told me it was great because he had morning 6. Then a good day at work. Then a date and 6 with a totally different person. On the one hand, thanks for making it easy for me to dump you. And on the other hand, maybe work on not being a 100% asshole. Edit. This was IRL and talking for a little over a month. So not a Ritz Tinder and just for 6 situation. Told me she has a crush on my brother. I'm sorry Luigi. It just wasn't meant to be. We were 5. Had planned to marry when we got older with a pancake cake and everything. I was invited to his birthday party and he and his friend was climbing a tree with him being higher up. Suddenly he pees down on his friend. We never got married. A pancake wedding cake? Brilliant. I wish I had read this before I got married. Not my crush. But someone who had a crush on me or so I was told. She asked for my birthday. And I told her. She then calculated that I was younger than her by a week or so and straight up said to me I did have a crush on a guy, but then I found out he was younger than me, so now there's not a crush. Damn dude. Lol. What a dumb reason. My husband is 8 months younger than me, but born the same year. I love making cradle robbing jokes and telling him to respect his elders. He loves making old lady jokes. It's stupid, but it's fun to us. It was a teenage crush. He had multiple girlfriends who didn't know about each other. Disloyalty is not cool. Did the absolute right thing. There was this guy in our class who tried to convince other people when cheating is okay. Found out she was a cousin. We were in class together and it was all a pure coincidence. Neither of us had any idea until a family member casually mentioned to me, "Doesn't her name go to your school?" Well, crap. I grew up in a small town and one of my friends was related to everybody. In middle school he told his mother about the new girl he was seeing and she had to break the news to him that he was dating his second cousin. Not something that she did. But her breath smelled like sheet. Literally like it. Did you tell her that? Probably needs to brush her tongue more. This is a serious response. He threatened to kill me and himself if I broke up with him. We were alone in the house and he was having some sort of episode where he spaced out, became robotic, and dissociated. This made him act very slow and lethargic. He had mental issues. I grabbed my stuff and ran. Never saw him again, but I know he was hospitalized. I'm married now and he hasn't contacted me since. I actually hope he's doing better. I had a crush on a guy in 5th grade. He found out about my crush and made a really hateful nickname for me and teased me about my body. Got all of his friends to tease me too. Realizing he was a garbage person set me straight pretty quickly. Same thing happened to me, 8th grade. Crush on a girl my junior year of college. She liked to heavily make fun of people, and I mean hard. Like to the point I would say hi to someone I knew. After we walked off she would have some remark. She went from attractive to not wanting to be around her really quickly. I had a crush on the girl who lived across the street from me, who I had already been friends with for years. Once we were teenagers she learned a new skill. How to cut real deep with words. Like slicing your calf muscle with words. Holy shit, this girl could make your depression go into overdrive with a single sentence. And she got a lot of practice. You forget to ask her how her favorite show was the day after a new episode aired and she'd go over every sensitive subject you have. When she told me the day of my grandfather's funeral that my grandfather only died to get away from me. That's when I finally told her to go duck herself. And that's when I learned that she can dish it but can't take it. She referred to Mexicans as wetbacks. I look white. What she didn't know is that I'm part Mexican. Racism of any kind towards anyone is an instant turn off. Edit. Changed wetbacks to wetbacks and added an important detail. I live in a small town that is 70% Mexican. I also coach youth soccer. I once coached some 10 and under kids. There were maybe 3 white kids out of 15 on the team. I usually let the team decide their mascot. These kids wanted to be called the Beaners. I refused. Also tried to use it as a teaching moment. But I felt like I was telling African Americans they couldn't use the N-word. I've shared this before. But one time I was out on a first date with this girl I met online. I thought she was very attractive and we seemed to hit off well through texts. We're at this bar and she suggests we play a people watching game where we try to make up backstories for the other people there. I thought it sounded fun. Especially since I played a similar game with friends on the train sometimes. Plus it felt like a good icebreaker to get us talking. Well, she managed to take all the fun out the game by being ridiculously cruel in all her assumptions for no real reason at all. It felt like she was projecting issues she had onto these people. Like one guy was sitting at the bar alone. Could have been waiting for someone. You never know. But because he was alone he was a ducking loser with no friends that hates his life. Completely killed the mood and I lost interest in her after that. couldn't see myself going on a second date with someone like that. He drove like an idiot while I was in the car. I literally thought he was going to kill us. And he was road raging the whole time. This was on the highway too. I asked him to stop driving like that and he didn't. Never going out with him again. I misunderstood a comment and he was a big dig about it in front of a few people. Laughing at my instead of kindly correcting me. What a duckhead. My ex-husband was like that. Any misunderstanding or asking a question for clarification was met with laughter and mocking. He even got his mom in on it. That shit wears you down so fast. By the time we were going through our divorce, I was convinced I was a total idiotic duck up who couldn't do anything right. I was home at my parents' house and I did something really small. I can't remember exactly what. But it was like I spilled a bit of water or dropped a towel. I said I'm such an idiot. I can't believe how dumb I am. My mom looked at me strangely and said no you're not. Why would you say that? It took lots of therapy. And time. To recognize and accept I'm not an idiot. But being told time and time again that I was. I started to truly believe it. That's a very long way of saying good for you for getting out of that situation, and yes. Yes, he was a duckhead. Edit. Holy smokes. Thank you everyone for the kind words. They have completely made my day. Tortured a housefly and gave an oral book report trashing my favorite book, at the time, for being boring and having too many words. Then started bragging he could have any girl in the school he wanted. Shortest crush of my life. And he's a liar. Since we know now there's at least one girl in the school he couldn't have. Didn't defend me when his friends tried to assault me. Just laughed with them. This is the long version of the story. I have never been popular. Was always bullied and stuff. One of the things people told me was that I was a prude. Because I never had a boyfriend at that point. Apparently. Some of my classmates got inspired by that and started a bet. Whoever could do me in, a slang word in my language that can mean anything from making out to sex, would win. Every contestant put in a certain amount of money. At the height of the contest it was about 100 euros. That would be their prize. All of a sudden, I was invited to popular parties. People tried to make me drink. Random people started talking to me. Flirting. Groping. More and more people became aware of the bet, so even people I'd never talked to or who were complete strangers to me started to hit me up. It was weird. I was still in the dark about the bet and I didn't get why some guys, sometimes even girls, wanted to hang out with me or wanted to see me drink. Luckily for me I don't drink. But it was all very uncomfortable. My crush and I went on a school trip together with the rest of our year. And all of a sudden things get out of hand. People groping me, now the supervision of the teachers is half gone. People trying to ask me if I ever kissed someone. The most scary experience was when a couple of guys cornered me in the park and told me, very detailed, how they wanted to have sex with me. Some of them were my classmates. Some of them were friends of my crush. One of them was my crush. You can imagine how scared I was as a 15-year-old. No adults in sight. Only me and these 10-16-year-olds. I was hoping my crush would defend me. He was a nice guy. Never laid a hand on anybody. Always friendly. But he just laughed. They were telling me how they would grape me and he laughed. It took 2 more months before another girl had the courage to tell me what was going on. She used the word doing. And I was too flustered to ask if she meant the light version or all the way. When I told the teachers about the bet. About all the people who were involved. About how no one told me anything about it. Not even the girls. They told me I had no proof. Was imagining things again and that boys will be boys with hormones. What can we do about that? It all stopped when I got a boyfriend that very summer. Who was 5 years older than me and would later turn out to be an abuser. He looked like he was 30 though, so I guess most of the guys got too scared to lay a hand on me. But yeah. That's how my crush lost my interest. What the duck? That's just wrong. Used a baby voice when speaking to me. Or was a good little girl. Is it you who? I bet it ice. Here. A car and IE. Yay. Dude, she knocked over my Lego Death Star. She had to go. She started posting videos of her making out with drunk old men to her Snap. We're both in college. We had sex for first time. And afterwards she told me she had sex with this other guy I hate just before because she didn't want to be unexperienced for our first time together. I thought losing the virginity together was a beautiful thing. She completely ruined it. Edit, we were together. It wasn't just a random chick I waited for. When I said I was legitimately suicidal and wanted to talk to her to get my mind off of it, she responded with "You're so self-centered and lol do it pussy." And the best part is I thought we were good friends up until that point. That is terrible. She certainly doesn't sound like a friend.